Hey everyone, welcome to the I'll Be Living Life podcast. If you like my content, don't forget to support me by hitting the subscribe, notification, and like button. My special guest today is Kimmie. She's on Instagram and her handle name is Raintown Runner, all one word. Welcome to my show there, Kimmie.
Thanks very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's funny, your name, Raintown Runner, it really suits our city, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely, especially today.
Are you from Vancouver? Are you born and raised from Vancouver?
Originally born in Prince George.
Oh, okay.
And I've been in Vancouver I came here for school originally, and I've just been here ever since.
Oh, awesome. But you're still BC, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's really cool. I'm born and raised here too. There's not too many of us around, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today we're going to go and talk about some of your amazing photos. And we're also going to talk about your rock climbing and your canyoneering. I mean, you have some really, really, truly amazing shots. And,
Thank you.
I definitely envy some of the places you've been to and your rock climbing skills. I mean, you must have like grips of, like, I don't know, like I'd be falling down and killing myself probably. And
Well, that's what
I'm
the
a
rope's
strong
for.
guy. Yeah, oh, is that what's the ropes for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start off by talking about your January 11th, your Squamish waterfall picture. That picture looks amazing.
It's really hard to capture in the picture. It's one of the most amazing places I've been in Squamish,
Hmm.
and would like to go back and do it again and again and again because every time it's different.
Which
But
waterfall is that, may I ask?
it's called Monmouth Canyon.
Okay.
So it's actually a canyon that runs down the side of the mountain, and there's a number of descents that you rappel down, and that is, I think, the second to last rappel on Monmouth. It's stunning the whole way down. It's granite and water, and it's quite exhilarating because you're rappelling into some quite heavy waterfalls.
Yeah.
So it's just otherworldly. I hope to do more canyoneering in the summertime and to be getting more shots just because it's probably my favorite. I would call it probably an extreme outdoor activity.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do. It's just stunning.
Wow, that's nature right there. I love waterfalls.
Yeah.
There's another one out in Squamish that I really like too. It's the Crooked Falls. I know, is it the
Okay.
Crooked Falls? It's not the Crooked. Maybe it is the Crooked Falls. It's kind of North Squamish,
Okay.
and I love that because after you finish your hike, you come from behind the falls, and then you could actually see the falls kind of topple over. It's quite amazing there.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I haven't actually been to Crooked
Yeah.
Falls.
So I'll post up a photo of it on YouTube too. So then definitely you can have a look as well. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like I'm assuming the water is like super frigid, right?
Well, usually when you're canyoneering, I mean, it depends on the canyon you're going down, but Monmouth is quite a large canyon. So you spend, I would say, I'm sure someone could correct me on this, but I remember it being at least 4 or 5 hours to get from top to bottom.
Okay.
So you definitely have a suit on. For me, I
Yeah.
get cold at the drop of a hat, so I usually layer up to the point where I'm floating in the water really easily because I've got so much neoprene on.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I definitely have to suit up completely and have gloves on and boots and everything to
That's
stay
because you're
warm.
ripped too, so
Yeah,
you probably
well,
don't have much to keep you warm there.
not with COVID probably, but
Okay,
yeah.
let's talk about January 4th. You got a nice picture of Falls Creek there, and it's a really blue. And this is the kind of pictures I take myself as well. I take kind of these landscape shots. I take nature shots. So I think most of our shots are, pretty similar to each other. So yeah, explain
Yeah.
that one a little bit. That was a really cool shot, actually.
That actually, I'm really lucky to live where I do because we actually live on a sailboat, just kind of to the left of that shot,
Yep.
and my view is of the city. So I would say that I'm more drawn to doing the outdoor shots, but
Yeah.
I look at that and I just think, oh my God, I have to get a picture tonight. The water's like perfect, and the visibility is great. And so I usually just walk from our boat up onto this hill by Charleston Park,
Hmm.
and I will take pictures if I feel it's a good night. So it's nice for me because I just pop out and take a shot. And that's kind of what I did that night. I was on my way to work and I just quickly turned around and thought I have to get a picture of this and snapped off a couple shots.
Yeah.
And it worked. So
That's pretty cool. Yeah, those are those moments, where you're just walking around and then it's like, wow, wait a second here.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I do that with my buddies too when we go hiking. Same thing. It's like, we'll be legging it pretty, got a pretty good pace, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, hey, hold up a second. I just saw something. Give me a couple minutes here, and they usually do. But yeah, that's the life of someone that likes to take pictures for you, right?
Yeah, and usually the people you're with, if they know you well enough, they kind of just let you do your thing for a couple minutes because
Exactly. Yeah.
if they have to.
So the last picture that I want to bring up is the one of Robson River by the Canadian Rockies. I love
Yeah,
this picture. This is like the emerald water, the nice reflection off the water there, the snow caps on the side. Yeah, it's
yeah.
really really nice. Great capture.
It's so easy to take a good picture there. It's probably, I would say, my favorite place in the world. And I've done quite a bit of traveling to other countries, and I've lived in Mexico for a short amount of time and
Okay.
just traveled all over. I've been to Europe and I've been to Southeast Asia, but I'd say the Rockies are probably the most beautiful spot I've been. I've done the Mount Robson hike, which is also called the Berg Lake Trail.
Yep, I know that
Um,
one. Yeah.
yeah, I've done that probably about, I have to count now, 5 or 6 times,
Nice.
just because every time you go and you're going in different seasons, it's different every time.
Mm-hmm.
And the glaciers at the top are just breathtaking, and the whole hike. And that picture in particular, I think I took actually lower down. I think it was only probably, I think, 4 hours into the hike, and
Okay.
it was just such a beautiful spot. I thought I have to try to get a picture of this, and it was easy. Like everywhere I looked, it was just stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How long did that
I
hike
highly
take you?
recommend it.
How long?
Sorry?
How long did that hike take you?
Well, it depends. Like a lot of the time, it's best to just hike up and camp. And that hike, we actually didn't make it to the very top because there's avalanche territory, which we didn't have our avalanche gear with us, and
Yeah.
so we didn't want to risk that. But in the summertime, like the late fall or early spring, or late spring, I should say, it would take you without a heavy pack probably 8 hours, I would say,
Okay.
probably eight
Okay.
or nine. It's
One direction, or is that round trip?
well, I've done it in one trip in 9 hours, and that was with very little stopping. It was kind of like hiking as quickly as I could, and then stopping when I saw a shot, and then continuing at like quite a quick pace. But yeah, if you want to stop and have lunch and enjoy yourself on the way up, I would say you can take the whole day to do it. Probably 7 or 8 hours if you're really taking your time and taking the sights in on the way up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's one that I actually really want to do. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah. So you have a lot of amazing pictures, and keep up the good
Thanks.
work. I think you really built a following in the short amount of time. You're almost at 2,000 followers now. So, no, good on you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's surprising. It's amazing actually.
Are you doing anything different? Like, what? How are you building your following? Do you know?
I think actually I started to notice that people were liking a lot of my outdoor pictures, a lot of like my Rockies, like
Mm-hmm.
Canadian Rockies pictures, and my climbing stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of started picking up from there. And originally I was following the people that I liked and the photographers I liked. And then it kind of started coming back to me where people started following me. And it was exciting because I wasn't searching out people as much as they were finding me.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of been kind of a back and forth thing where if I see something I like, I will support the person and follow them and vice
100%. Yeah.
versa. And
Yeah.
it just builds over time.
Yeah. That's a good
So
plan.
yeah, it seems to work. So
Yeah. Let's talk a
yeah.
little bit about your rock climbing. So, like, how many years have you been doing this, and your canyoneering? I'll let you talk about both of them. I'm not the expert here because definitely, like I said, I was contemplating rock climbing many, many moons ago. But then again, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I'll plunge to my death. I don't know. So, yeah, definitely give me some insight here.
So with rock climbing, with what I do is sport climbing, and sport climbing involves ropes, and
Mm-hmm.
there's very little. I mean, I'd say there's very little chance you could hurt yourself. Probably the worst that could happen if you're securely tied onto your rope and you have someone who's belaying you who knows what they're doing is you could probably fall into the rock and
Okay.
just bump against it, and that's really all you can do. So I recommend trying it because it's a challenging sport, but I find that most people I know who like it, they like it because it's kind of like almost trying to figure out a puzzle, but you're on a wall and you're
Hmm.
trying to decipher which is the best way to get up, and you try different things, and you're all the while you're getting this excellent workout while you're trying to like struggle up this wall, and it's very rewarding when you get to the top. It's just a wonderful feeling, and you're outside and everything about it, outdoor climbing in particular, I really enjoy. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, I used to do quite a bit of it. I haven't done so much in the last couple of years. I was telling you that I have two little boys,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a little harder with the little boys to get out on a wall, but I've
Of
been
course.
I've been trying my best.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
not easy when you're running a family, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. What about the canyoneering stuff?
So the canyoneering was something that I actually knew nothing about until I met my husband,
Hmm.
and he's from the UK
Okay.
originally, and he got into it when he moved here. And when I met him, he started telling me about it, and I thought that's like absolutely amazing. I need to try that. And so he took me out with a group, and we were in Squamish, and we crossed the river by canoe, and then went
Hmm.
basically through this amazing canyon where there's actually one part of the canyon that is like a rock tube that you just rappel down, and the light from the water splashing and the light shining down this granite tube is just I it's one of the top highlights of my life. It's just, and you can sit there because you're rappelling down on this rope. So you kind of can rappel as like slow or as fast as you want.
That's pretty
And I
cool.
remember just hanging out in the middle of this. It kind of felt like being a kaleidoscope. It was stunning, and I just sat for a minute and just took it in because there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
Um,
you don't get those opportunities unless you're doing something like that, right?
yeah, it's something that I hope to share with other people just because it's hard to explain, and it's kind of hard to get pictures of. You kind of get an idea from pictures, but being in the middle of it is just insane. So I have to thank him for that because he got me involved in that, and he tends to take me out when we do go with other friends, and it's just a fantastic day.
That's cool. You met the perfect person.
I think so.
Yeah, there you go. I remember we talked before we started this show that you had some questions, and yeah, go ahead, fire away.
Yeah, as we were talking before, I fairly new in the scheme of things to the Instagram world, and I know I've read a little bit about Instagram algorithms and how often you should be posting, and how you should kind of streamline things and do a very specific niche that you should target,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't really done. I just kind of put up the stuff that I like to do outdoors
Mm-hmm.
myself, which seems to be working pretty well. But
Yep.
I guess my question is, what is your, I guess, top three tips that you would give to somebody who's starting out to try to build a following?
Okay, so number one for me is engagement. That is by far number one. Like I remember a lot of like many times, people
Yeah.
would ask me and say, you know, hey, what's the secret behind this? Honestly, there is no real secret to this. There is no secret. It's hard
Yeah.
work and it's a lot of work. It's when you're finished eating your dinner, or you're finished your job or whatever, and you're at home, and after you put the kids down and you got half an hour to an hour or maybe longer, you're engaging with people. So
Hmm.
basically, you're liking people's photos. You know, whoever's making comments on your photos, be sure to comment back. You'd be surprised how far that takes you. And it does take you a
Okay.
long way. So engagement for me is absolutely number one. The second, third, fourth, fifth tips are, all about other things, but a kind of a distance away. But definitely engagement is number
Wow.
one. So
Yeah.
if you look at stuff like even the trick algorithms and stuff, like say for instance, Kimmie, if you look at some of your older posts, right? Maybe go into something like that you posted in 2019 or something, like maybe the picture of yourself or mountain shots or something like that. Go into your likes, right? And you may
Hmm.
have a couple hundred people that liked your photo. Definitely go back into those people that liked your photo back then. Like I'm talking maybe like half a year or a year ago,
Uh-huh.
and start liking their photos again if they're following you. And then that will kind of trick the algorithms a bit to put your topics on their site.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because if sometimes people fall out of your algorithms, right? Or you fall out of their algorithms. So what I do is I typically will go back to an older picture that received a lot of likes. The funny thing you asked, because I just recently did that, because I noticed my likes were kind of, I wasn't getting that much reached out there anymore, but I was still getting over my 1,000 likes per photo. The thing is, it just wasn't reaching that many people. So I'm like, so that's, I went back to some of my older ones, and then I looked at it and I started liking other people's photos. And because they fell off my algorithm, it's not because I wasn't interested in their stuff. It's because I just don't see it, right? And they don't see mine. So then, of course, I go and all of a sudden I caught up to what I liked from them before, which could be 10 to 15 posts, which is absolutely ridiculous, which means that could be a month's worth of pictures, right?
Yeah.
And then when they all of a sudden I'll look at my feed again, and the same person comes back and likes all my photos. And it's just because we fell out of the algorithm. And to do that, to trick that, is the best way is like what I said, go back into an old photo and just start following that group of people that liked your photo, and just start liking their photos and catching up. And now that will give you your old people back along with your new ones that are following you now. So that kind of breaks the algorithm a bit. So that's kind of a tip as well.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't read about or heard about. That's interesting.
So, and that's something I found myself. I didn't find that anywhere else. Like I said, it's all about hard work, right? And just working on it. And I always said this, like even in my first couple episodes of my podcast, I always said this, like it's free. Like especially if you're a realtor or you have a business, or you're a talented singer or you're a talented artist, why are you not branding yourself on here?
Yeah.
Why are you not using all the platforms? It's free, like absolutely free. Realtors pay thousands to market themselves. But yet you can't spend an hour on here for free and getting people to follow you and hearing what you're about. That boggles my mind.
And you're connecting with people as well.
Exactly.
In an ad, you're not really making that same connection. So
exactly,
I agree.
And your personality kind of comes out in these pictures, right? Like, I mean, when I look at your pictures, I can tell that that's your personality. You seem like a pretty cool person. I've seen so many thousands of accounts, and I've seen so many pictures. And the other thing I can recommend is keeping a consistent kind of look to your Instagram. And for you're climbing, you're canyoneering, your shots of the outdoors and shots of the city, that's all fine, because it's like me. I'll basically have my hiking shots, and then I have my city shots, and then I have my night photography.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Like I know some people just do city shots and just leave it at that, but it's fine to be a little bit like branched out.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because I was talking with my husband about that, and he was thinking like, it's a little too random if you're doing the city and everything else. And I just said, well, my name is outdoors, like
exactly.
Kimmie Mac Outdoors. So if I'm outdoors, it kind of covers everything. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And what I don't like out there is, unless you're trying to promote yourself for a modeling gig or something like that, is a ton of selfies. I don't know. It's out there, and if you're using it to promote yourself for modeling or for showing off clothes and stuff like that, perfect.
Yeah.
But obviously, as an outdoors person, like you want to be in those pictures sometimes too, and I suggest that, because I feel that followers need to connect with you somehow, because there's no voice to our pictures. It's good that you post up a picture of yourself every so often, just to get that connectivity with your followers.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I would recommend, and that's why I wasn't posting my picture for the longest time, and then I was getting heckled by some of the followers like, okay, well, why don't you post your picture? And I was like,
I saw that post, I think that you posted. You said, I don't do this very often, but here you go.
yeah, here you go. And I probably post like maybe once a year. I'll put my mug on there. And at the beginning, I was telling people I don't want to scare people away, so let's just
Oh,
keep let's keep it
yeah.
at that. But it's fine. I think you definitely need to connect with the followers. So the best thing to do is you definitely post up a picture of yourself here and there, and
Yeah.
definitely post up like your outdoor shots, because one thing is not many people are rock climbing, so they really would like to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Canyoneering, same thing. Even the city, like city shots, because we live in such a fantastic, beautiful city. People from
Yeah.
around the world love seeing our pictures, and I'm not just saying that, it's true, because
Yeah.
I do have close to 9,000 followers, and the amount of comments I get from not only people that are local but people that are from abroad, right?
Yeah.
And they truly love the city. Like to us, it may be boring as hell. Like we look at like Science World, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, we've seen that every freaking day, right? But
It's funny that you say that though, because there's so many talented photographers out there and they've shot it from every angle and
exactly,
everyone makes it look different. I mean, to a degree, like it's just amazing what people have been able to get out of Science World just
yeah,
all
exactly,
the seasons. It's
yeah.
impressive.
I had
Yeah.
one. I took a picture of Science World, just the reflection in the water. I didn't even shoot the Science World, so I
Yeah.
took the picture of the lights in the water. And then somebody said, "Geez, how'd you do that with Science World?" I go, "It's the reflection. It's not even Science World itself, right?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's pretty cool." And I was like, "Oh, thanks," right? Like, but it was just me saying, do something a little bit different. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I did with that. And definitely like hashtags. You got to use hashtags.
Hmm.
Use all 30 of them. So you get 30, use 30, change them
That's
up.
good to know.
Yeah, change them up every so often, but make it relevant to what you're doing, right? So
Hmm.
if you're doing rock climbing, look up rock climbing. But again, there's another trick to this, and I spoke on this on some previous episodes. Definitely in the first few episodes, we were giving a lot of tips. With hashtags, you want to be able to use two small ones, and those two small ones should be under 50,000 posts.
Okay.
Okay, so they might get like you might land on their page. That's the whole thing, is you're trying to land on their page, right?
Yeah.
So after you post up, say, one of your rock climbing ones, and you tag, let's just say Global BC, hypothetically, let's just say them, and
Hmm.
a couple of days go by, or even a day goes by, go back into your picture, tap that hashtag of Global BC, and see if you land on their page. See if you land on their top 9, or if you're in the 20th or something like that. If you're not on their
Okay.
page, don't bother using them anymore,
Okay.
and give them like 2 3 shots, right? And if they don't put you up in the top 9 or put you on their page, then obviously they're not promoting you back.
Okay.
And it's
Huh.
really tricky that way, because a lot of times there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no posted some amazing shots that I felt that were amazing, and I figure, oh, you know what, it's going to be there, right? And when I
Hmm.
look back on it, it's not there. It's like it could be one of these like small time hashtags, and it's not on their page. But then
Yeah.
I go on a big one, like a rather large one, like maybe Daily High Vancouver, or Vancouver's Awesome, and it's in the top 9. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's
That's
over a
great though.
million followers, and I'm getting it on theirs, but I'm not getting it on these smaller ones, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really tricky game, the hashtags. So I would recommend two small ones of under 50,000 posts. You would probably get most attention from them, and then you do about 26 medium-sized ones. And when I mean medium, I mean 100,000 posts to, I guess, about 700,000 to a million posts.
Okay.
And then the last two is two large ones. And two large ones meaning 1 million to 2 million posts. The reason behind that is, say for instance, you just say, let's look up love. So love is going to be huge, right?
Hmm.
So love, and then I hit tags. There's 2 billion posts on love, the hashtag love. So for you to land on their top 9, you would have to completely just fluke out, because there's so many pictures going through there
Yeah.
that even if you land on there, you'll be there for a split second and then they'll fire your picture right off because it's
Yeah.
like there's so many posts.
Yeah.
And for some reason, now that I look at Love, there's one girl on there that's got 3 out of the top 9. And is it a special picture? Not at all, if you ask me. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't understand that, but
yeah, no, that's
good
why I'm
for her.
saying there's no really rhyme or reason to it. It's really weird. I don't know why they post up certain things, and then some of my posts don't get it. Like, no one really knows the algorithms, but I would suggest that's kind of the way I post, because the lower the amount of posts, the more likely you're going to get on their top 9, and then their more eyes will fall onto your picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That's
and then
good info.
change it out, right? Like, so after a few weeks or something, if that one take a couple of those hashtags out and then enter a couple more. And the easiest thing to do is, for me, I put it on my notes on my phone. Put it into my notes. I'll put 30 hashtags on there, and then I'll put a comment on the top, like describing the picture, and then I'll do a whole bunch of dots. So you're more than welcome just to go to my page, and you'll see how I'll do my hashtags. It kind of keeps it like less messy that way. It doesn't
Oh,
look
I
like it's
see. I
bunched
see
up
what you're talking
together.
about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of something that you can do. So definitely, like, my 3, I'd say engagement is number 1, no matter what. Like, that's the biggest thing. And then definitely like hashtags, and just keeping your, like, the stuff you're shooting right now. I think it's great. Just keep those kind of pictures coming along. Like, same thing, city, rock climbing, hiking, outdoors, pictures of yourself. Perfect. I think that's going to work for you.
Thanks. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't wait for summer and for COVID restrictions, fingers crossed, to lessen. And
Yeah.
everybody's probably thinking they just want to get out and explore and everything. So
No kidding.
I
Do you have
can't wait.
any more questions for me?
Um, what was another question? Oh, I had a question about how important you think it is to be featured by another
Like a
Instagram
hashtag, or
account.
yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke about this a few times too, and these hashtags are going to hate my guts for it, because I honestly think it's pointless.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I can't say it's completely no value. There is a little bit of value to it. I've been
Hmm.
featured a few times, and now I even stopped tagging people. Like, I stopped tagging those accounts.
Okay.
I use all my hashtags, but I stopped tagging those accounts
Yeah.
because I noticed when I tagged them and I got featured that I would really not gain anybody. And I'm talking to some other, like, really good photographers out there too, and they said the same thing. They
Okay.
said they didn't really gain any followers from it. They might have gained, I might have gained like 10 maybe. And if I worked at my picture, maybe I would have gained like 20 out of over 1,000 likes.
Okay.
So basically what they're doing is they're taking my picture and they're promoting their page.
Yeah, they're getting followers from your picture, which, yeah, seems
Yeah.
like.
So that's why I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I stopped. There's one of my followers who I follow, and I've spoke about her many times, or EMM1 underscore EM11. She's amazing. She gets a lot of features. Like, one of her pictures can get featured 10 times in 10
Oh,
different
wow.
places. Yeah.
I'll have to check her out.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's crazy. And for me, I'd be lucky if I have 10 in total. So,
Yeah,
but
same.
it's once you fall on their radar, you're always on their radar. That's another thing that I figured out. But there's no, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And when I talked to her, she couldn't really explain it either. It's not like she knows anybody there. And I go, no, I
Hmm.
get it. But I really feel that it doesn't make a big deal if you get featured or not. I mean, do you feel good? Yeah, you feel good for a little bit, but then I don't know, you don't really gain anything from it. But they are gaining a lot more people seeing their site just because your pictures on there, and
Yeah,
it's amazing, as well as all the other people that are on there as well. So
yeah,
yeah, I stopped tagging them.
yeah. That's good information too, because I was kind of going that route, thinking, oh, this is probably a good idea, and it was kind
Hmm.
of exciting to have someone else share it. And then I found that I was getting more likes from where they were the picture or the Instagram of the picture that they were posting, but I
Hmm.
didn't find that I was getting a lot more followers. I'm sure they were, but I didn't
Yeah.
find that for myself. But
Yeah, you're right, because they will like it because now it's on their page too, right? And then
yeah,
they'll get their numbers up and they'll get more people following them. But as for how many people actually followed you is a different story. And then what I would do back in the day when I did feature or get featured or did tag them, I would go into the ones that aren't following me, and then I'll start looking at their content. And if I like them, then I'll kind of like a few of their photos and then follow them and see if they follow me back.
yeah,
And it's that whole game, right, where you could go out there and look for people, and say, for instance, maybe you should go into the Hike BC or Canadian Rockies hashtag and go in there and start liking some people's photos there, and or
yeah.
look at someone's photo, and if then you look at who likes that photo, and then you start hitting all those people that are liking that photo.
Clever.
And if they like that photo, which is similar to the stuff you're posting to, the likeliness of them following you is very high,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. So it's a whole trick thing. So I was working so bloody hard at this thing when I first started my first year. I actually have a burn on my phone of Instagram. I'm not kidding.
wow.
Yeah, it was that bad. I've changed phones. I changed two phones now, but that phone literally has a burn of Instagram on there with the
Wow.
like and everything on the bottom. Yep.
I guess that just leads me to one more question. Would you say in the first year, like, it sounds like you're quite devoted and you were
hmm
working pretty hard. How did you do in your first year?
I think I averaged about 10 a day. So I think
Wow.
I got up to about 3,000 something
Wow.
in the first year. Yeah. And then so basically, I think my average is about 10 a day. Some days I
Yeah.
was getting, no one following me, and then I had days where I was working super hard on the weekend on it, and I'd gained 100 followers.
Yeah.
I think over a weekend one time I gained close to 200 followers in one weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's times where I'm too busy for it, so I end up not working as hard on it. But
Yeah.
it's all like I'm very grateful for my followers, and I really do love their content. So that's why I do like a lot of photos out there. Even to this day, when I see it, I like it. And my dedicated followers, they're super awesome, and even the
Yeah.
content that they put out. And usually, like I tell my guests, like whoever's on here, usually just follow any guest that was on my show before. They'll follow you right back, and they're all really really good, and that's why I have them on the show too, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. Like I said to you before this, the whole thing for me was trying to build up my Instagram and start a podcast and start building and start helping people build to where I'm at, or maybe like maybe they're better than me, but it doesn't matter. Like it's just more about promoting talent and businesses and bringing awareness to stuff. So I'm really happy now. Like I got to the place that I wanted to be.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's great that you're connecting with people through Instagram, and then with the podcast, you can delve a little bit deeper into the stories of the people that you're interested in,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And yeah, keep up the great, pictures and the shots and, the content. And yeah,
Thanks.
just develop on that engagement. And I guarantee you're going to probably pass me.
I don't know about that. A long way to go.
No, it's not that bad, actually. You'll be surprised. Okay. So yeah, thanks again for joining me on my podcast.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. If you're not following Kimmie, please give her a follow. She's under Raintown Runner, all one word. So give her a follow. And thanks again, Kimmie.
Thank you.
And for all your listeners out there, please, by supporting me, please hit that subscribe and notification and like button on YouTube. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks.